This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.
Speaking of, I just heard of the term ambivert. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't know. No, I haven't heard of that. Please tell me, reptilian.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Speaking of which, this has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but have you ever heard of the word? No, I haven't, but I guess we're done talking about being busy.
No.
Tell me about that. I would love to hear more about it.
Not what I said.
Yeah.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
You're listening to the Laughing Couple podcast with your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy. Join them weekly as they discuss topics such as relationships, kids, sex, parenting, all unfiltered and all with a healthy dose of laughter. Please welcome your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy.
Bring it up.
Bitch.
Anyways, so Alani sent the other one, which tasted like an orange creamsicle. But actually not. It was way more citrusy. It was so good. But the can designs are just so pretty. I love the colors. And then I guess Paris Hilton collabed with them. And her tagline is "Sliving." That's hot.
You should literally make sure that everyone's aware that this is not an advert.
It's not an ad. They were just like, "Do you want to try this?" And I was like, "Sure. I like pink." It's actually quite good. You are more of an energy drink type of dude. I don't really like energy drinks, but these are good.
I've tried. I was never an energy drink. Yeah, let me try.
Try it. It's nice. It's usually energy drinks are way too sweet for me. These are sweet, but like,
oh, that is nice.
It is nice, eh? Over ice would be better if this was cold.
Yeah,
it's just
over ice or in the freezer.
Excuse me. The
I wouldn't start with room temperature for an energy drink.
The citrus one's so good. The other one's so good.
So I was never an energy drink guy. I was also never a coffee guy.
That's hot.
It's hot that I wasn't one.
No, I was just like. Yeah, like, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think you sound like her, but...
I totally do.
You know who you sound like? You sound like the girl from the OC.
Oh, Kristen Cavallari. Yeah. Steven.
That is who you sound like, not Paris
What
Hilton.
happens in Cabo stays in Cabo. Oh, my God.
That is good. That is cringy. That is really good. We've discussed this.
Yeah, but no, but I can 100% sound like Paris Hilton.
Anyways, I was not an energy drink guy, nor was I a coffee guy. COVID made me a coffee guy. I realized I don't actually like coffee. I like being warm, and coffee. And
I like warm hugs.
I like warm cuddles. I was gonna use hugs, but then you used it, and I didn't need to use it anyways. And then energy drinks. I didn't start using energy drinks till about 2 years ago. Yeah, using. Yeah. Well, some people say that it is an addiction, guys. So it is a form of using.
Listen, I
didn't utilize energy drinks for energy until I started working out really early in the morning. And my personal trainer was a big energy drink guy. And now I realize that I go to energy drinks more frequently than I feel I want to. I know you big drink energy.
That was so
that's
smart.
So good. Someone should take that.
That was like one of the smartest. I'm gonna trademark that right now. Let it be known. Big drink energy, like big dick energy.
Let's do it. Because we don't have a lot of things on our plate right now. We should create an energy drink called Big Drink Energy. Mm-hmm. I bet you it already exists.
I bet you it does too. I'm gonna.
The fact that it came off your tongue so easily.
It just says how witty and talented I am.
Tells me how that's going to either be in the market already or is going to be in the market immediately.
Let's look.
Things don't come off your tongue very easily.
Big Drink Energy, BDE, by Branch and Blade. It's an IPA. It's a beer.
It's a beer, eh?
It's a beer.
Yeah, well, it should be an energy drink.
I think that the energy drink, it doesn't exist, just the beer. Could we call it Big Drink Energy as a energy drink, but not a beer?
I would call it
trademark? Big Drank Energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you don't infringe on their trademark, because their trademark probably is some sort of liquid-based substance. Now you could probably why are we talking about this? Anyways, we can go after it because it's not an energy drink, but I do believe that the energy drinks fall in the same category.
That was so smart.
As the liquor, wine, and beer. I could be wrong, but maybe worth challenging. if there's anybody who listens to this who has a lot of knowledge in patents, trademark infringements, who is a lawyer, and you want to get in on the big drank energy, let us know. Let us know. We're going to start it.
I'd like to talk about just a conversation that I was overhearing, which made me think of something else. So I was at an event in Toronto this past weekend. There's a bunch of people, creators there, lovely people. But I will say, I was standing beside a group of people, and I don't know who these girls are, but I was listening through a lens that made me kind of giggle. And then it made me think about like how we do this as humans. So like, you're, hey, how are you? Like, how's it going?
Hey, hi, how you doing?
Yeah. Hello, motherfucker. Hey, hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
That's actually how it goes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi.
You're like, hey, hi, how are you?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Anyways.
I'm not hip to the jive when it comes to like lyrics. No, I'm not. No, I'm not good at that.
Cecilia. Okay.
Oh yeah, we've already established that on this podcast.
Anyways, I find it funny. I missed that. What happened?
I said you and Jake. I was at Brian Breckles and Leanne Breckles, her retirement, his 60th, and they had a live band. The band was phenomenal, by the way. I was at their place. You did not come with me because we didn't have a babysitter. So I was in a room full of people who were all interconnected, lovely, lovely human beings. I knew none of them. And this band was playing, and I was standing close to the band because that's where I felt most protected in terms of like, yeah, I'm not going to try, I can't hide. And they played Cecilia, and I sent you and Jake a message saying, I feel, what was it? I feel attacked. Yeah, I feel attacked.
Personally attacked.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I found it funny when you like say, hey, like, how are you doing to somebody, or you haven't seen them in a while or whatever. And we're always like, oh, so busy, right? Like, so busy. Oh, yeah. But like, so I'm overhearing this conversation. And so this girl's like, oh my gosh, I'm so good, but we're so busy. And the girl's like, oh my God, like, I am so busy. And then they were like, isn't it crazy? Like, we're doing this, and this, and like the busy, like, I'm just like, it's so chaotic. And then they were kind of going back and forth. And I was giggling because it's like a competition to be like, well, who's busier? You know what I mean? Like, we're all fucking busy. And like, we do it too. Like, we were literally just out for dinner last night, and an old boss of mine was like, how are you guys doing? We're like, oh, busy. Like, I just feel,
yeah, we did.
I feel like it's a way where it's like, it's never
I need
really
you
said
to know
how busy I am, but it's never said in like a positive way. It's like, it's always attached to like some negative, like hustle culture. You know what I mean? Like, it's busy doesn't always mean productive.
Busy's actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to stop saying it. Busy's kind of pretentious.
It is. It's kind of like, we're so much going on. We're so fucking busy. What are you doing?
Especially when you're in the content creation space. Because if you're a content creator and you're busy, that means you're making good money. Mm-hmm. That means that people need you, people want you, and that you're busy because of the demand.
Saying, I'm amazing.
That's what you're saying.
Are you?
Yeah. Hey,
anyway,
how you
really
doing? Hey, would you like a beer, liquid? I'm busy.
I'm busy.
I'm bored. I actually stopped saying busy because I didn't hear busy the way that I just heard it now. I'm going to stop saying it. Busy's pretentious.
No, but I think you could be like, oh, we're doing really well. We're busy with work. We're enjoying it. Like, it's how you say it. You know what I mean? But it's like always presented as like this chaotic, like if you're not busy, you're not doing enough. And that's not like specific. I think that's just like a societal pressure where it's like, if you're not hustling, if you're not fucking doing things every single hour of the day, are you even worth it? Are you successful? And like the idea of being busy is like, just like, I think a lot of the times too, people are like, well, maybe it takes one person to do something. It takes them an hour, and it takes somebody else like 4 hours. That you're not busy. Like, you're just not really great. You're not efficient. Like, you're just not efficient.
I'm happy you said that, because my perspective of busy, and I stopped using the word busy. I guess I didn't because I said it yesterday, but I try to stop using the word busy, and I change it to productive. Because Because yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Now I hear it as pretentious. So productive is like I'm really pretentious. I am so productive. I'm fucking killing it.
Not only am I busy,
but
I'm also efficient.
Yes. I am efficiently busy, which means I'm so successful that I'm successful. I'm going to stop saying that too. So I'm just going to stop. But like when I was saying it before, busy to me had this like negative feeling towards it. It was like I wasn't in control.
Yeah.
So I changed busy to productive, which means like I'm accomplishing the things that I need to accomplish in this space, and it's chaotic at times. Mm-hmm. But I'm just going to stop saying it all together, because I don't think if you're like group of 100 people, hey, 100 people, nice to meet all of you. Show of hands if you like being busy. No one would put their hands up.
I don't agree.
You think I love being busy?
Yeah. I think a lot of people will be like, yes. Personally, when I'm not busy, I feel like I attach that to my self-worth.
That's a problem, Brittany.
I know. I'm working on it.
Like, that's not healthy.
Working on it. I'm fully aware.
Okay. Show of hands if you like being busy. Oh, you. Okay. You. Keep your hands up if you have self-worth issues. Okay,
Still
perfect.
me.
So we've established that nobody likes being busy except for people who have self-worth issues.
No.
Nobody likes being busy.
I disagree. We're going to poll this. We're going to poll it. I disagree, because I think that like I don't do well with idle hands, idle time.
Great movie.
Yeah, great
Devin
movie.
Sawa.
I just don't do well with that. And it's like, I think I'm most productive when I'm busy. And that's not to say that like I won't take time to relax. Like I think that is very important, and I am working on it. And I am really working on like relaxing, and it doesn't have to have a reason. Like I'm not being like, I need to relax because I did all this. Like, no, like you just need to recharge. Speaking of, I just heard of the term ambivert. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't know. No, I haven't heard of that. Please tell me, reptilian.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Speaking of which, this has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but have you ever heard of the word? No, I haven't, but I guess we're done talking about being busy.
No.
Tell me about that. I would love to hear more about it.
Not what I said.
Yeah.
Ambivert is a mix between it's an extroverted introvert.
I saw this on your stories.
Yes, obviously not. I wasn't a reptile.
Yeah.
But it talked about being busy. I was just like relating it into the sense of like I need to recharge my social battery. Not even my social battery, just like my battery. I need my energy recharged alone, so that I can like repool it and then come out and be like myself again.
An ambivert is someone who is
ambivert.
An ambivert is somebody who is both and neither an introvert and an extrovert. And I heard I heard what the guy said.
Yeah, it's
really
the
great. Comedian. He said, I need to be near people, but if I'm there for too long, I get annoyed. I need to be alone, but if I'm alone for too long, I get annoyed.
You need both.
I need both. I am that too. I was going to try to say.
I think as you put it like that, I think a lot of people need both in some capacity. It's just a matter of, I think an ambivert is 50-50. Whereas like most people would be like, oh, I'm more this or more that.
See, I have become more introverted than extroverted.
Yeah, for sure you have.
Recently, post-COVID, for sure.
For sure you have.
But I had a beautiful conversation yesterday with an individual, and we were talking about this idea, this concept of being introverted as a way of protecting yourself from people. I have found recently, I've struggled recently with being around people who I know aren't genuine.
Yeah.
Being around people who either want something from me or talk shit about me when I'm not around. And there are very few people in this world that when you're not in the room, they talk properly about you or nicely about you. There are even less people who, when you're not in the room, not just talk positively about you, but like try to help you, right? Like there's a saying that says, I want to be around people who
protect my name,
who make connections for me when I'm not there.
Protect my name too, like when I'm not in the room.
And so what I have come to realize is there's just a lot of people in my world right now, and part of being antisocial is recognizing that I've just started to realize there's just a lot of people in this world that put a smile on, shake my hand, and are buddies with me. And then the second I leave the room,
I wouldn't say a lot of people.
Well, okay, there's enough that I've now become introverted.
think so. I can think of less than 5 people, maybe 3.
Okay. Well, anyways, I've just come to realize that I've come to realize that, and I've used being introverted as a way of protecting me. Mm-hmm. I don't like being introverted. I like being around people, but I've just found that recently, my trust in people, my inner sanctum, my inner circle is getting so small.
Right.
And it's such a shame that it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But that's how I feel recently. So I would say that I'm this ambivert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I have a desire to be with people, and I really like being by myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love being by myself. I just need to recharge. And like, I think that I knew this going into this event because, again, it was with a whole bunch of content creators who I know a lot of. And I got to meet a bunch of girls who I've been talking to for years online, and it was amazing. And I know the last time I was at this event, I was so drained. Like I felt like I needed to do everything and needed to see everything. And like by the end of the day, I was like having like full panic. I remember texting you last year being like, I need to leave. Like I'm overthinking every single conversation I'm having with people. I'm too drained. Like I didn't have any time to recalibrate. So this year you texted me, you're like, how's it going? I'm like, I'm doing okay. Like I literally came back from the one day, and instead of going out for dinner and hanging out and being social, I just stayed in the hotel, and I went and had a steam shower, sauna, and like read my book and just like recharged because I had to go back out later that evening for the rest of the event, and I felt great. Like
you didn't send me any nudes.
I love how I'm like talking about this like self-reflection, and I'm just like doing really well, and you're like, where's your naked photos? Like what a dude.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like being vulnerable.
You said steam shower.
I'm like, oh God. Christ.
I'm having a steam shower. Oh, here comes the nudes. I stayed up until 1 o'clock in the morning for them, and I found out you went to bed at 11. God, I gotta go to sleep. I gotta be up in 4 hours.
I'm sorry.
This is a great segue. So, I got 2 segues off of this. Segue number 1. A couple weeks ago, you stated something on a podcast. Now, I don't know if that episode has been released yet. It may or may not have been released yet. If it hasn't been released yet, Cole's notes, it's coming.
Alert.
You said one of your I love you and your annoyings for me was when we come back from vacation that I put the bag on the bed. Because you said that bag's been in the airport, that bag's been handled by everybody.
I said the luggage, not the bag.
The luggage.
The luggage.
You said... Has it been released? Okay. So, well, here we go. So you said that was one of your pet peeves about me, right? And I thought to myself, well, I'm pretty sure, but this is not a pet peeve of mine, so I'm not hyper focused on it. I'm pretty sure you pack your bag on the bed and disassemble your bag from the bed, but I said nothing. And then when you came home from this trip from Toronto, what did you do?
But it's a bag. I'm talking about when I'm at the airport. I'm not.
What did you do? You were in a hotel.
Yes, but my specific like discrepancy with that is that the airport bag, like your wheelie carry-on, that's what bothers me. It is though.
So,
it is actually the wheels.
But
it's not the bag. It's the wheels.
Sweetheart, what bag did you use for Toronto's trip?
Yours.
Mine.
You're right, but I didn't put it on the bed.
When it was on the bed, I said to you, "Hey, Britt, what's on the bed there?"
No.
And you said to me, "Oh no."
No.
Yes, you did.
No, we didn't. Maybe I did.
Yes, you did.
Okay, hold on. But what's the segue here with me being like self-reflective and I'm like vulnerable, and you're like, you know what's really fucking annoying about you?
Two segues.
Like,
that was one.
Please
and here's the other one.
connect this for me.
Yeah.
How does that connect for me being like, oh, I'm self-regulating
Well, you were
and
in
like
Toronto.
really trying?
You were on Toronto away. That's a
God, that
segue
was
to this
so
bag.
mean.
Now, segue to the other stuff, which is way more important.
Oh, so this is another shitty thing.
No.
Interesting.
Hey, Coop's coming down. Hey, buddy.
Hi, monkey.
Okay, here's the segue, and this
come
is
say hi,
this
and
is
then you gotta go back up. Okay? Yeah, you can come say hi.
Come
it's
right
okay.
behind me.
And show everybody your missing tooth. Oh, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Obviously, you
Come
gotta
here.
come right here. Come
Come?
right here. Or choose the mom.
around.
Choose your mom. Yeah.
Okay, look into this camera right here
That's a light.
and show your tooth.
That's a light. This is the camera right
Yeah,
there.
show your
Bubba.
tooth. Ready?
Yeah.
School.
Hey, how you doing?
For the summer. That's why Koopy's here.
All right, son.
Okay,
Can you do
I
me
love
a
you.
quick favor? Love you.
Thank you.
Love you, bubby. Love you. Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Please continue with something else that's annoying.
Here's the segue. No, this is not annoying.
Great.
This is not annoying. This was a great.
You contradict yourself. Just doing some self-reflection.
Anyways, hypocrisy is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world. So anyways.
What does that mean? Are you trying to say that I'm a hypocrite? Like that's just part of my personality? What is that? Like, what was that slight dig? That was so random.
No, when you say, I don't like when you do this, and then you do this, but then you'll say to me like, well, you don't mind when I do this. Yeah, but you do mind when I do it. So you shouldn't do it either is what I'm saying.
No, and that's totally different. There might be something.
You don't have a problem when I do that.
You don't.
No, you're right. I don't have a problem.
So that doesn't
but
bother you.
You have a problem when I do it. So why are you allowed to do it? That's hypocrisy.
Right.
Anyways, the segue, and this is the important segue. A couple weeks ago, we had a podcast, and I had made a comment about, am I depressed? Right? I had made that comment, am I depressed? And I was talking to Jake last week about this, and he was reflecting on it, and he said, you know what really bothered me after I left that and got home to myself? I thought to myself, Ryan's having a real conversation right here. He's asking a legitimate question. And what was the first thing that all three of us did when I said it?
We laughed.
We laughed.
But to be fair, you also laughed right after.
No, I don't think I did, actually.
Yeah, you did.
Jake's shaking his head.
Pete, yes, he did, because he went like this. Am I depressed? And it was funny.
He laughed way too hard.
Yes, but the issue is also, but you're forgetting, he actually already said this to me in a previous conversation, and you laughed about it.
Okay, but what I'm getting at is, regardless,
if he would have been like,
but I'm not making the three of us wrong. I'm not making the two of you wrong. I'm certainly not making the two of you wrong. What I'm getting at is, Jake had said it was funny because it was Ryan, right? It was Ryan, and we saw the humor in it. But you know how many people, and I don't just mean men, I just mean people in general. You know how many people put on this face and get the world to see a version of them that they want them to see, but inside they're like not doing well?
Yeah, lots.
The idea of it was funny because it was Ryan is the mistake that a lot of people make. And so we had this conversation. I don't want to get too deep into it because I actually feel really good about my life. I feel I'm quite happy with where my life is. And maybe I should. And this is a conversation that since then we have been having. It's this idea that when men in particular are vulnerable, the room around them doesn't know how to actually handle that vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And so men, myself included, will go to humor first to protect ourselves.
As a deflection, for sure.
And all I'm saying is if you heard that podcast and you were listening to that podcast and you are feeling like there is depression or anxiety or worry or whatever you want to label it, it's not funny. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be taken as humor. Even if you're the happy-go-lucky person that makes everyone laugh, it's serious. Mm-hmm. And I really hope that episode didn't shine the wrong light on what we were talking about, because what we were talking about is serious. And it's important to know that the conversations that happened after that podcast were serious and have continued to be. And there is now an exploration that is happening around depression, worry, anxiety. There are steps, actionable steps that we are now taking. I am now taking to do a lot of internal reflection and then to look externally to see maybe there is something that I need to look at. And we've had multiple conversations about this since that podcast, but everybody who listens to this podcast doesn't get those conversations. Mm-hmm. They only got the conversation and they're left with that conversation. And I feel like we left that conversation, even though we tied it at the very end, and even though Jake did a beautiful job of outlining it in the show notes, I think we didn't do a wonderful job of exiting that conversation in an empowered state. It still felt disempowered. Mm-hmm. And I just want everyone to know that I am now empowered by that conversation. And I certainly hope that you were not disempowered by that conversation.
It just goes back to the saying, like, check on your friends who don't complain, right? There's so many times that you see people who like have gone down a really, really dark hole and everyone's like, I had no idea. Because those people typically are fighting a battle that they don't let anybody else see. So yeah,
and I find that the people who put on a good show, people who don't say anything, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The non-squeaky people, they've learned from childhood on how to survive quietly.
Yeah.
Right? It's a learned behavior, whether it's like, well, my brother got the attention or my sister got the attention. And so, they were the complainers. So they're the ones that my parents paid attention to.
You don't want to put any extra burdens
on. Or they had
on.
the needs at the time. And so I didn't want to bring that need. And over time, you just slowly learn how to live in this world quietly.
Yeah.
But the problem is, are you suffering in silence? And if you're suffering in silence, I'm going to suggest or invite you to look at how you became who you are doesn't necessarily mean that that's how you need to operate depression.
Yeah.
That's not how you need to operate anxiety. Sometimes you need to be the squeaky wheel. And I watched something the other day. This is what brought this to my attention on Instagram. And they were talking about how, society just doesn't know how to deal with men's mental health. Mm-hmm. They really do not know how to do it. And the men are so terrified to do it that when they do it, they don't do it authentically. They really don't. And in relationships, again, this is the study that was being done. They were talking about how the fact that when a male brings up worries, concerns, considerations, often to their partner doesn't hear their worries, concerns, and considerations. They hear what they're not doing right. Mm-hmm. And so they start to defend their position, where the man more often than not isn't saying you're doing something wrong. They're saying, I need help. Mm-hmm. Right. And we had the last podcast that we had that just launched last week was brilliant because it talked about the invisible load that you have. And I think why I get so triggered when we talk about default parenting and we talked about invisible load is so often men, and I know I'm painting us all with a massive brush, but I do feel like the brush covers a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us. We just don't say shit. We just do not say shit. And so when we do say shit and it doesn't get received properly, what we're saying is, I'm not safe to say this to this group anymore. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's really sad. It's sad that that's our reality, yes. But it is our reality. Jake, you feel that same way. 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's sad.
I think we are leaning in the right direction as a society because we're just talking about it more. I think 5-10 years ago, nobody was even talking about it because anytime a man would show any form of emotion, it was always like, that's unattractive. Like that's weakness. That's not masculine enough. And so I think we are definitely leaning in the right direction for those conversations. I heard something, one of the speakers at this event, Lily Singh, she is honestly one of the funniest people. She used to have like her own YouTube series. Anyways, she's doing big things.
She's probably busy.
She's so busy.
Yeah.
But she told us this, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember the exact thing. She's like, my friend tells me this, and I wish that I got out my phone because she was like, this is a good one. And I was like, I'm just going to be in the moment. But now I wish I knew the exact verbiage that she used. But basically, we as human beings are born with compassion and empathy. We're innately like born with that. But we are engineered through the education and through society to be greedy. And I was like, damn, because it's true. Like we're all as babies, we're all just as little babies.
As babies.
Yeah. No. And as you grow up, and obviously like life circumstances can alter like how you're perceiving the world.
Wait, you move from Sicily to Canada.
Mostly human beings have empathy and compassion for other human beings and other things. It's not until you get out to society and the world are you engineered to like be greedy for things. Yeah. And I was like, damn.
You know what I think is one of the biggest, I think the biggest problem is right now for men. Even as I'm about to say this, I'm trying to think, how do I filter this in a way that it doesn't get backlash against me, which sucks, by the way, because I'm not saying this as a make wrong for women. I'm saying this is what I think men struggle with right now.
How is this going to be taken out of context?
How is someone going to absolutely murder me on this is what I'm thinking. So let's see. Let's see how this goes. I believe the problem is for so long, men really had it made in terms of the hierarchy of life. They controlled all of the power. And recently, this female empowerment movement is starting to come forward, and it's not just coming forward; it's here. It's now. We had the privilege of working with a credit card company, and they were talking about how the shift of wealth is not just moving generationally; it's moving from sexes. It's massively moving very quickly from men dominated to female dominated. Not even equal, but female dominated. We live in this world right now where mom load, these conversations are all real and they're all genuine and they need to happen. But because they happen in such a way and such a movement, as a male who's experiencing this from an outside looking in, it's almost like, do I even have the right to complain about what's going on here? It's like, people always say, first world problems, right? Well, problems are problems. Stress is stress. Worry is worry. Concern is concern. Depression is depression. And I feel like it's almost like men are so afraid of putting their hand up because they've had their hand up for so fucking long. But it doesn't mean that they don't need their hands up. I watched this one thing, and
I think it just depends on like when you decide to put your hand up and in what like context. Like if somebody is talking about, like if a woman is talking about something that is whatever, and then a man decides to be like, well, me too. Not the time, bro. Not the time.
No, read the room. Yeah. I get it. But then the problem is what room does a man have that conversation with? Because he ain't having it with his friends.
Yeah.
Right. So there was this thing that I watched. It was so brilliant. I wish I could find this guy. He's an African-American, and we do not talk about race. We do not talk about religion. We do not talk about politics on this podcast. Right. This is not what this is. But what he did was so brilliant. He said, this is what's wrong with the world today. And so he had a group of African-Americans. There was a line, and they were all standing in the line in the middle. And there was 3 slots to the right and there was 3 slots to the left. One was strongly agree and one was strongly disagree. And the question was, there was a African-American group of people, call it 10 people. And he said, would you strongly agree or strongly disagree that you're proud to be an African-American? And all 10 of them walked all the way to strongly agree. They took that same group of individuals, but they were Caucasian. And they asked, are you proud to be white? Half of them went to strongly disagree. A quarter of them went to disagree, and everyone else stayed in the middle. No one even dared to go to the other side. And the reason they didn't dare to go to the other side wasn't that because they weren't proud. It's because they thought being proud of being white means you're racist.
Yeah, I get that.
And so when we look at that, because it was so visual, when you look at that, it's almost like if you had a group of men and you said, are you proud to be a man? They would probably stand somewhere in the middle. Some might go 1 slot to the right, but most of them would either be in the middle or go the other way. We are so afraid to be proud of masculinity and having masculinity and being a man that because society has made being a man wrong. Well, no, it's not wrong. But you also look at it and you say, okay, well, if I come over here, am I going to offend the trans world? Am I going to offend the women's world? Like there's all of this, we've moved so far into this world of there's all these people and life is a spectrum. Being a human being is a spectrum. That if you are a traditionalist and you see yourself as a traditionalist, you are deathly afraid to admit that because you feel like you're going to offend people.
I think you can say like, no, I feel this, and it doesn't have to, that doesn't equal if you think this, you think that. Like they're not living in a silo together. They're not mutually exclusive.
You're right. And yet it's treated as such.
I know, you're right.
You look at it and you say, if I say I'm proud to be anything, then that, to me, I'm afraid that society is going to say that I think it's wrong to be anything but that. But it's like, are you proud to be you? Yes, I'm proud to be you. If you make me
so
Caucasian,
so
now I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm proud to be me.
Yeah.
I never thought of myself as Caucasian. I always thought of myself as Ryan. But if you make me Caucasian, because guess what? I actually am Caucasian. I was born this way. It wasn't a choice for me to be Caucasian. I'm proud of me. But if you make me, are you proud of being Caucasian? No, but I am proud of me.
And you're saying that relates to like, am I proud that I'm a man?
Yes.
That means that like you're this hierarchy and like, I'm so glad I'm not a woman.
Yes. Oh, you don't want to be a woman? Oh, you don't want to be trans? Oh, you don't want to be this? You don't want to be that? No, I am me. I was born this way and I'm fucking proud to be who I am. But if you label me and ask me if I'm proud to be that label, well, I never really associated myself with that label, but I am proud to be me. So can I be over here? Or is society going to say you can't be over there because then you're making everything else wrong? I think
that maybe we just need to reframe the question.
We have to reframe the question. And again, this goes back to the conversation we had last week about invisible loads. Women have so many invisible loads. I am, honest to God, I feel bad for women for the invisible loads that they have. I also feel bad for the invisible loads that men have. I also know what it's like to be a man. I also know what that looks like and the pressure that it looks like to be that. And I also know that we just don't complain about it. We don't talk about these things because we don't feel it's safe to. And what I'm saying is we are all carrying invisible loads, whether you're Caucasian, whether you're, it doesn't matter what your race, religion, sexual orientation is.
We're all singers.
Whatever your sexual orientation is, whatever you identify as, you have invisible loads that you're carrying. If you're a husband, you have invisible loads. If you're a parent, you have invisible loads. Everywhere in life, we have invisible loads. And I'm not saying we all need to go to therapy. I'm not saying we all have to be kumbaya, hold hands and recognize that we're all struggling. But don't make my struggle wrong because you have a struggle that's different.
I don't think that's what women are saying. I think it's just frustrating for women to be like, hey, we're dealing with this. And then for the first thing a man to say is, but we're not saying that you don't deal with stuff. We're just saying that this is what we're speaking about right now. It would be like if you brought up your struggles in a different time where I wasn't complaining to you about what I'm dealing with, then I'd be like, oh my, like, let's have a conversation because you and I have communication. It's just frustrating when a woman would be like, I'm dealing with this, 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 and this. And then a man would be like, yeah, well, I'm dealing with this. And that comes down to communication.
Yep.
It's not a battle of who's busier, who has it harder.
But let me ask you this question. It is human nature to be relatable.
Yeah.
We want to relate to the person that we're talking to. So in communication, when someone says what they're dealing with, the easiest way for them to understand that you empathize with them is to be related to them.
But you're not
which
empathizing.
is to share, I get you. I too have this. I too have this. I don't think when a woman says to a man, here's what's going on, and they say, here's what's going on for me, it's not like we want to one up you. We're relating to your conversation. We get you. We get your world. And I feel like here's my problem. It's not even a problem. Here's my observation. My observation is that it's safe for you to complain. It's safe for you to express your worries, your concerns, and the things that are going on in your life. I don't feel like it's safe for men to do that.
You don't feel safe talking to me?
You and I have a very unique relationship. And so, yes, I feel very safe talking to you. But I don't think many men have what I have.
Yeah. And I think that comes down to, again, communication in your relationship. So that's what we're trying to do here. And that's why last week's episode is so important, because it took the onus off of the male partner and put it on society. Society as a whole is the one that told us, hey, this is what the women are supposed to do.
See, I learned something, and it was a huge lesson for me. So I'll share it with you guys. Two things can be opposing and both true. Mm-hmm. You can be dealing with your stress. That doesn't mean I don't have it. Mm-hmm. I could be dealing with my stress. That doesn't mean you don't have it. You could struggle being a woman and I can struggle being a man. It doesn't mean that the struggle of a man bypasses the struggle of a woman or vice versa. We're all dealing with shit. Being a parent is hard. Being in a relationship is hard. Being an adult is hard. We're dealing with a world right now that is so hard. We're all struggling. And I just want to have a conversation, or I want to open it up that says all of your truths are true. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean the opposite isn't. So if we can have empathy in these conversations, if we can talk to our partners and recognize that what I'm about to say to you, I've been thinking about for a long time. You have not had the privilege of thinking about this for a long time. So when I communicate it to you, you're hearing it for the first time and you're going to react to it. And you might not react to it the way I want you to react to it, but keep in mind, you've had no opportunity to be part of this conversation that's been in my head.
That's why it's just very important to know that it's not a single conversation topic. It's multiple. It's a lot of work. But I do want I'd like to finish this podcast on something funny.
Yeah, let's do it. I love funny. The laughing couple getting serious.
We have a lot. Well,
serious couple.
I'm not saying we can't be serious. I just think those are really important conversations. Yeah. And I'd like to do this funny thing.
Yeah.
This is
make me laugh, bitch.
This is a tongue twister that I would like you to read, and then I'll just send you it.
Oh, I hate reading in front of people,
it's
guys.
It's the best. No, it's a tongue twister. You're supposed to fuck up. Oh. Don't pre-read it. Just read it.
1 sock cutter, he cuts socks. 2 sock cutters, they cut socks. 3 cut sutter. Oh, fuck. 3 sock cutters, they cut socks. All the cut socks. What? Fuck.
You have to read it as fast as you can from the beginning. Go.
1 sock cutter, he sucks, cuts. 1 sock cutter, he sucks. 1 sock cutter, he cut sucks. Fuck me. Anyways, I've done this before. I think,
do it again.
One sock cutter, he cuts socks. 2 sock cutters, they cut socks. 3 cut sock cutters. Fuck. This is really hard. I just want to read it slow. 1 sock cutter, he cuts socks. 2 sock cutters, they cut socks. 3 sock cutters, they cut socks. All they cut socks together.
Good job.
I can't even read it slow. 1 sock cutter, he sucks cucks. I'm done with that. Can you try it? Yeah, you try it.
I can't do it.
Hey, Laffy McLafferson.
I can't do it. I fuck up all the time.
Give her a shot.
I can't do it. I'm not good at it.
You get 5, 4, 3, 2 suck cutters. Cut suckers. Oh my God. Cut sockers.
Stop.
Go, cut them.
1 sock cutter, he cuts socks. 2 sock cutters, they cut socks. 3 sock cutters, they cut socks. All they cut socks together.
Now, say it fast.
1 sock cutter, he cuts socks. 2 sock cutters, they cut socks. 3 sock cutters, they cut socks. All they cut socks together.
Well, you're linguistic. You're a linguist?
No.
You're a linguist?
But it's so funny.
What is this? What is someone that talks?
Most people say, well,
she's a linguine.
You
like from the baby. Yeah, it's a baby. Oh, I didn't realize you were Italian. Of course you can say that.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great weekend.
Enjoy your cut suckers.
Aside from my soul.